What are your names?
My name's Eileen.
Robert,
Are you from Chicago?
The surrounding areas, yes.
Wisconsin.
Oh, nice. Who did you look up to as, children or like wee little tots?
Who is my mother?
John Kennedy.
And do you guys believe in a religion or?
Oh, do I have faith?
Yes.
Do I believe that Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior?
Yes.
Am I Christian? You betcha.
Yes.
What is heaven to you then?
Heaven. It's a place I go where I die.
Eternal life.
Oh, yours answer was better.
And since you believe that there's a heaven too, do you believe there's a hell?
Sure, I think I'm in it. No, I'm kidding.
Yes.
And what do you think hell is specifically to you?
A place I'd never want to be.
Place I try to stay out of.
So what is your name?
Laura Richkowski.
That's a really pretty name.
Thank you.
And where are you from?
Originally from Green Bay, Wisconsin, but right now I currently live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
And how are you enjoying Chicago so far?
So far, so good. It's very hot out, so we might go to the beach later, but yeah, it's like a bigger Milwaukee, so it's pretty comparable.
The beach will be really crowded, just saying.
Yes, it would be. We were there yesterday people watching, but yeah, we'll see what happens.
And as a wee little tot, like a child, who did you look up to in your life?
Who did I look up to? Probably my mom, my sister for sure. My sister is about 4 years older, so I always just wanted to be with her and her friends and do things that she did, so definitely my sister. Yeah.
And what is one trait about your mother and your sister that you really wanted to have as you grew older?
My mom's always in a great mood. She's very, very optimistic, always laughing, always smiling, always having a great time. My sister, just very carefree, outgoing, kind of like granola girl, hippie. So I like both sides of their personality traits. Yep.
And you're an adult, right?
Yes.
Do you put your faith in anything that's, are you religious or spiritual or?
I wouldn't say I'm too religious. I mean, growing up, we always went to church. Came from like a Catholic family, but I don't necessarily feel like I need to go to church every Sunday to be religious. So I do when I go home and see my parents, but I wouldn't say I'm necessarily religious.
So what is your name?
My name is Julie Frericks.
And where are you from?
Currently, I'm from the far west suburbs out in North Aurora.
Do you do this for a living?
I do this to develop, I guess, so that I can develop it into a source of income.
And how did you get into balloon making? They look really great.
Oh, well, thank you. I had always wished that I knew how to play an instrument so I could come down to Chicago when I was low on funds and open my case and play my instrument. But I don't know how to play an instrument and I can't sing. And one year when my daughter was very young, we were at the Daily Center and I noticed a man making balloons for tips. And I thought that's something I could do. And then at a certain time, I was unemployed. My unemployment was running out. I had no job prospects, and I just bought a package of balloons, and I went to the library, and I read books about twisting balloons, and I scrounged enough money together to purchase my permit.
Nice.
And I began coming down here to twist balloons and see how it all works out and turns out. And that's how I got started in it. And I find I enjoy other people's enjoyment about the balloons. The balloons to me weren't the big deal. It was just something I could do. But I would find other people received enjoyment from the balloons, and that was my reward.
And growing up, who did you look up to for inspiration?
My mother.
And what trait of your mother did you really want to embody as you grew older?
She just always seemed to be right. And I don't know that she always was right, but she always had the last word and she always seemed to be right. As I grew older and had children of my own, what I've noticed about her that I would now like to attain is she had a compassion about her to see through people's faults, that we all have burdens that we carry, we all deal with stresses that go on in our life, not to hold people's negative behavior personally, but just to try and see beyond that there's something going on with that person and they need more grace.
Okay, so what are your names?
I'm Jasmine.
And I'm Sarita.
And where are you two from?
Maryland.
Maryland.
Growing up, who did you look up to as like a role model or like idol?
Pharrell.
Pharrell Williams?
Pharrell, no question.
I have the cheesy answer, so the answer would be my mom.
A lot of people
Most
said that, so don't
definitely.
worry.
Most definitely. I don't think I ever was the type to really look for celebrity influence. My mom was always there and always around and worked really hard. So like right now she's getting her doctorate, so she continues her education, is always looking to grow. And I think that's an overarching theme in my life. I'm always about growth and evolving and development. So it's like not necessarily about reaching the goal, but the journey that you take to get there as well, and just always looking to better yourself. So that's something my mom instilled in me.
And what is one trait about your role model that you had hoped to, embody as you grew older?
I think Pharrell is very open-minded and free-spirited and just kind of open to seeing different people and different places and different things and cultures, and I think it's really nice to be well-rounded and hoping to pick up some of that myself.
For me, I think perseverance. So when you're met with obstacles in life, to still kind of remain faithful in yourself and in your goals and still moving forward with what it is that you want and adjusting along the way, but definitely perseverance is a big one.
And final question, what is one mistake in your life that you're glad that you had because you learned from?
I hate quitting. I've only lived here for a year, and I just needed to experience something different. I've always loved this city. So I found a job shortly after I moved here, and I hated it, and I quit it, and I think I tried so hard to stick it out just because it's, a week really isn't long enough to give you a thorough idea of what it's actually going to be like in the long run. But I actually quit that job, and wasn't super proud of my decision. I did regret it, but it opened up a much better opportunity that I was a lot happier with. I still am happy with it. It's my current job, and I think it was worth it. At the same time, I don't know that I would quit something so soon in the future, but it did work out for me.
I kind of like the way that you phrase your question. I don't necessarily always believe in mistakes per se, because I think that you can learn from anything and everyone. And I think that that's a big reminder that I have to give to myself when I give advice to other people, if I ever do, is that, if there's something that went wrong, that didn't work out, there's always something to be learned from. I think for me, one of those biggest points, it might not be something that's like one event that happened, but just like in my life, that I oftentimes don't take enough time for myself to take care of myself. I'm the type of person who works really hard, and I want to make sure that, I can be there and be reliable and responsible and accountable. And so there's a lot of times that I feel like I don't take the time to take a step away to make sure that I'm also doing the best for me at the same time. So that's like a reminder, especially when I was in college, that I had to remind myself that I also, needed to do for me as well.
What is your name?
Shelby Strelo.
And are you from Chicago?
I'm not. I'm from Kalamazoo, Michigan.
And how are you enjoying Chicago so far?
I like it a lot. I'm here to visit a friend. So.
What is your most favorite thing about Michigan?
I like that we have all the lakes. I like going to the beach.
How much time would you say that you spend at the lakes and the beach?
During the summer, I probably go 2 or 3 times a week. So
that's a lot.
yeah, I like the beach.
And um, growing up, who was your, someone that you looked up to?
I looked up to both of my parents.
And what are the traits in your parents that you wanted to have as you grew older?
They're always kind to everyone, and they're very open and open-minded, and they like to travel a lot. So,
If you were to be a celebrity for a day, who would you be?
oh, that's a toughie.
I'm gonna sit down because
You can sit down. It's much better on the ground. If I was to be a celebrity, I would probably just be anyone that can travel a lot, because I really like to travel. I don't really have a specific celebrity that I like a lot, so
Where is one place in the world you would like to be since you like traveling a lot?
I would really like to go to Africa. So
It's a cool place.
yeah, I hope so.
And do you have, a certain religion you go by, or you have something you put your faith in?
I do not. I'm not religious at all.
And growing up, did your parents encourage you to participate in religious activities, or were they really lenient on it?
They didn't really care. My mom grew up Catholic, but as she married my dad wasn't religious, so they didn't make us. I have an older sister too, and they didn't ever make us go to church if we didn't feel like we had to. So,
Since you don't believe in no religions, what do you think happens, after we kind of die and we kind of?
I believe in the concept of an afterlife and a heaven and such, but I don't necessarily believe in hell, or that there's a God or a divine whatever that deals with all that. So
And since you do have this concept of a heaven, what is heaven specifically to you?
it's just a place that once you die, all the spirits that have died have come together and are kind of not living, but are together as one.
And going off topic, I see that you're reading Harry Potter. Do you really like the series?
This is my third time reading the series.
That's amazing.
I like Harry Potter.
So, what is your name?
My name is Charles Bullock.
And where are you from?
Originally or right now?
You can say both.
I was born in Connecticut. I lived here for 11 years. I live in Massachusetts now.
And what do you do for a living?
I'm a technical translator. I translate patents and scientific documents and technical documents from German into English.
That sounds really complicated.
Kind of? Yeah, I wouldn't really. Yeah, I'm just gonna go with yeah.
And growing up, who did you look up to as a role model, or
I'm trying to remember. I always liked astronauts. Astronauts were a big deal when I was a kid. I wanted to be a paleontologist and go dig up bones out in the desert, because kids love. But that lasted. The dinosaur fixation period for me lasted a lot longer. So I remember I loved reading books about paleontologists going off and going into cliff sides, and had a big thing with Sherlock Holmes for a number of years, because Sherlock Holmes is awesome even if he's fictional.
And what is one trait from people that you looked up to that you wanted to really have as an adult?
Persistence. Just, if you don't get it the first time, you try it again, and if you ever can manage it once, you can always do it a second time.
And now as an adult, do you have put your faith in anything, or believe in a certain religion?
No, I'm not religious. I have faith in people, but I'm not, was not raised with any religion, don't have any now.
And following up on that, since you don't believe in a religion, what do you believe happens, after we all die and stuff?
I think we're gone. I think it means you have to make the absolute most of what you can while you're alive, because I don't think there's anything after this. So.
What is your name?
My name is Jordan.
And what gravitate you toward, street performing?
Well, I love music. I love entertaining people. It keep me they keep me from away from negative, so I keep me doing positive, basically.
And as you were growing up, who did you look up to the most as a role model?
Well, I really looked up to my mom because she was the only person that I had in my life that was a good role model towards me. So it was my mom, basically, like.
And what is one trait about your mom that you wanted to have as you grew older?
That's a little hard question, but like really, I just wanted like be a good father, basically, like, 'cause I got 2 kids of my own, and she taught me how to get through the struggle, you know what I'm saying? And that's basically, you know, I don't want my kids to go through that, like how she was trying to do us as we was growing up.
What is one thing that you wanted to be when you grew up as a little kid?
I always wanted to be a mega bus driver, like a Greyhound driver or something, like a Greyhound bus driver. Yeah.
And last question, what is one mistake that you made in your life that you feel that you learned from?
Well, to be honest with you, I learned from, as a kid growing up, I learned from stealing cars, like, and it came back around toward me because I went to the juvenile center, and like that wasn't the place that I wanted to be, and I learned from that. So I ain't gonna say never, but I ain't ever catch a case from now, like, 'cause that taught me a good lesson, and like I ain't wanted to go back to no big jail or that, you know what I'm saying, to a prison or back to a juvenile center.
Yeah.
So what is your name?
Laiki.
And is this what you do for a living? You know.
Yeah, I do it in the summertime, travel all over the country doing it, and the wintertime, just do it there in Austin, Texas, or the South.
So is Chicago just one of those destinations that you think that is best for?
Well, over like the past 4 years, I got in over 20,000 miles traveling around, setting up on street, doing my art everywhere. In Chicago, I did like twice as good as any other city. Got connected to all kinds of people, like doing nonprofits and gardens out here. And then just really supportive city of the arts. So I planned on staying here until it got too cold for me.
Do you believe in a heaven or a hell?
I believe we have the option of making either one here. Like, there's lots of people out here on the streets. You can look in their eyes and tell that they're living in a hell right now. And then there's other people who seem to be living in a heaven. So we all have it here on earth. After we die, well, I have no clue on that.
Well, so you believe that there's a heaven and hell here, but what is heaven personally to you?
With me, I'd say heaven is being able to create, do what you love, and be happy all the time. So I like to think I'm in a state of heaven most of the time.
And one last question, what is one mistake that you made in your life that you learned from?
Maybe waiting too long to experiment with like all the possible skills I have. I didn't, like I said, I stopped drawing in 7th grade. It took me until I was 22 years old to like really explore drawing again, and that's when I fell back into it. So maybe waiting too long to get creative again.
Thank you.
Thank you.